Because we'll just edit as we go.
Right.
It'll be great. It's the great thing about editing. I'm going to make myself have hair and be 10 pounds lighter.
Really?
It's going to be awesome.
What can we do for me?
You're already perfect.
Oh, see? He's so good.
Yeah. It's
so
not
good.
my first rodeo.
Right?
So, anyways. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wine Coast Swing.
We also call it the Other WCS.
Yeah, right, exactly. My name is Robert Royston.
I'm Brandi Guild.
And we came up with this idea. We were teaching our Ultimate Intensive, and we had this talk-back session. And during the talk-back session, somebody said, you two should have your own talk show about dance, because we were so opinionated about dance. And as a joke, since we both happen to like wine, we were like, oh my God, we'll call it Wine Coast Swing. Now this is like a year ago, and we've had lots of people say to us, are you ever gonna do it? Are you ever gonna do it? Ever gonna do it? So we're going to. We're gonna see each other a lot this year at events, and we're gonna try to film 1 to 2 episodes at every event. We'll put it on, you can find it, there's a channel on my YouTube page, so Robert Royston is my YouTube channel, and in the channels, on the page, it'll say channels, there'll be Wine Coast Swing. It's already there, and it just has a couple of YouTubes of me and you dancing together.
Oh, neat.
Right.
We've had some good ones.
It's just the 2.
We've had 2 good ones.
Just those 2 dances, they were awesome.
They were really
right.
good.
It was a polka and a schottish.
So good.
So, anyways, we have a Keith Tulloch wine. So what we're going to also do is say the wine. So sometimes we'll be like, this is a Keith Tulloch Syrah that we got while we're here in Australia. Other episodes will be like, this is out of a box.
Business has been bad.
Please buy our videos.
So we can upgrade our wine.
Oh God.
So where are we right now?
Right, so we're right now, and everybody's gonna make a lot of noise. We're at Swing Escape in Australia. It's 10 to midnight on Sunday night.
And we have a room full of people sitting here, hanging out with us. Hashtag always stay Sunday night. So Swing Escape.
Hashtag big land beavers.
Big land beavers. Hashtag wombat butt.
Wombat butt. Wombat butt, right. So while we were here, you have to come here at some point in time. This is an amazing event. The Australian dance community, by the way, is so great.
Incredible.
So amazing. And we were driving here, Brandi and I were driving here with Brandi and Rogan and I in the car, and we saw the wombat crossing signs, that you had to be careful of wombats, and like, so.
Which is confusing for us.
Right. Because
we don't know what wombats are.
Right. So I said, oh, that's a wombat crossing sign, and they said, what's a wombat? And either Brandi, I think you're the one who said it, or maybe Rogan.
Is it like a giant land beaver?
She says, is it a giant land beaver? I said, yes. So now we're hashtagging giant land beaver.
Do you know what I did not know about Australia? I had no idea that it was 1,000,000 degrees in March. I had no clue.
It has been really hot.
Really hot.
Really hot while we're here, that's true. It's like, it's about 102
They
degrees.
keep saying
right.
it's 10 degrees hotter than normal. I'm like, 10 degrees Celsius.
Celsius, that's right. So, anyway, so one of the things we're going to do in Wine Coast Swing as we go is we'll have guests sometimes. We'll talk about it. We're going to talk about West Coast Swing. We are right now. We're just kind of hamming it up a little bit. We're going to talk about West Coast Swing. We're going to talk about the dance community. We're going to talk about lots of the cross-training that we've had. And hopefully over some of these episodes, we're going to have lots of guests, other guests, professional dancers, not just from the West Coast Swing world, but from other dance worlds, coming and talking a little bit about that. We always are going to try to have a studio audience and do some question and answer stuff. As this progresses, if you have questions for us,
definitely send them. Send them on
right.
Facebook, send them on email, text us, call us,
put a comment on the YouTube channel.
Absolutely, but we want to talk about what you guys want to hear us talk about, because frankly, we'll talk about anything.
And that's funny.
Because it's true.
That's awesome. Oh my God, we just had a talk show host moment where we both went. That just happened, for real, like our own morning show. And now over to the weather. So.
It's 1,000,000 degrees.
Anyways, we should talk about dance.
What's that?
It's this thing we do to samba music, but we go walk, walk, triple, triple.
Oh, with a number on your wombat butt?
With your neck, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So there was a question from the audience about whether we know something about wombats, something, I don't know. We're going to move on from it though, because people are going to be watching this at home. Okay, so let's start off this. So you kind of get an idea of what's going on. So raise your hand in the audience if you have a question for Brandi. Anybody have a question for Brandi?
It's good.
You can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's see this.
We have a
go
question.
ahead. What's the question?
Oh,
well, that's a good
what
one.
a great question. The question was, at my level of dancing, what do I want to get out of dancing now? I would have a different answer for that on different days, but I still am always looking to be inspired, and I don't feel like I'm done yet. And when I say that, I love what I'm doing as a teacher, as a choreographer, as a coach, as a judge, but I don't think I've peaked as a dancer yet. And so I still feel like I have a little bit of room to grow, and I'm pursuing that. So I'm looking to get back out on the floor, whether doing show numbers, competition numbers, working with different choreographers, but putting different movement on my body to see what I have left and how capable am I to take my own movement in a different direction. I danced with Ronnie DiBenedetta for years, and he's absolutely brilliant. The body of work we have behind us is something I'm so incredibly proud of. But when you're in a long-term partnership, you kind of find your identity in that couple. And so since we've decided to go our own directions, I'm excited to see maybe where I might go next. Now, as a teacher, I have moments every single weekend that just rock my world. Watching somebody have a breakthrough, watching somebody get hooked into this dance. This is, I mean, you guys have to agree with me, this is a drug. And once we get started, it can become a compulsion, but there's so much passion and energy and drive. And when I get to work with people and steer them and help them find their way through this, it is just one of my favorite things in the world.
That's a good answer.
Right. Oh, thank you.
Oh, she said, for those of you at home, she said you did that for me this weekend. That's awesome. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. What do I want to get out of my dancing right now? So this is interesting because Brandi and I have had this conversation. I actually, I think I'm done from the routine competitive. I feel like there's nothing left for me to do from the choreography, classic showcase, country dancing, any of that sort of routine thing. There's nothing left for me to do but compete in things I've already competed in and either lose or win or lose or win. And I've kind of done all of those things. So for me, I feel like I got to have this moment in 1997 with my old dance partner, Lorene Baldovi, and we had won this division called the Superstar Division. How many of you, show of hands, know what the Superstar Division is? One of you, yes. So that's great. So most people don't know what it is because it had only existed for 2 years. So the Superstar Division was the US Open decided to have one pinnacle. So instead of having classic and showcase, they wanted to have one champion. So in 1996 and 97, instead of creating like a rising star division, instead of creating a division under classic and showcase, they created one pinnacle above classic and showcase. So that kind of made classic and showcase more like the rising stars, that everybody that was up in Superstar were all US Open champions. You had to be, one of the partnership had to be a US Open champion. So Lorene Baldovi and I went into the Superstar division in 1996 and 97. And the only 2 years that it happened, which was great. And in 1997, we took a risk and danced to this routine, to this song called Fever by Elvis Presley.
Have you seen this routine?
Yes.
If you haven't, you need to.
So that routine for me was like super defining for us. I mean, we won the Classic Division in 95 and we won the Superstar Division the first year in 96 and then winning it again in 97, but really taking the risk of doing this. I remember Kyle Red walked up to me right before we're about to dance and he goes, "What other song are you doing? You can't just be dancing to Fever. Fever won't win by itself. The song won't stand alone by itself." And I said, "No, we're just doing Fever. And if we lose, we lose. But we're doing something for us. We're doing something that rocks our world." So it wasn't about the judges, it wasn't about anything else. Like the years prior, we had put routines together in hopes of winning, but we had won. So now we just did something that fed our soul. So now I competed a lot. I competed for many years after that. I got to dance on Broadway, all that other kind of stuff. Having that moment where you feel like artistically you took a huge risk and defined yourself and then succeeded, I don't know that there's much left for me to do on that level. So where Brandi and I, kind of like Brandi says, she doesn't think she's done. I kind of think I'm done. When it comes to Jack and Jill's and Strictly Swings, I love that because it's always new to me and I like that side of it. So I'm not done with those yet. What I hope to take the time to do is to create more lineage when it comes to working with the current champions and working with the current professionals and getting them to teach at a higher level to the masses. So what I hope to do right now, and what I want out of my dancing right now, is to create a lineage, a teaching lineage that gets more of the new champions and the new pros and people, out there teaching really high level technical stuff. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to do. So how about we do one more question? Yes?
We're a very small community in Canberra, trying to promote West Coast Swing. What would be your message to us to help us put the message out there about how to grow our sport in Canberra?
So the question was, and let me kind of generalize it. The question was, if you live in a small community, because this can be anywhere in the world, right? If you,
Capital city of Australia.
Right. So she said they live in Canberra. Yeah, right. Canberra.
They accuse us of being really aggressive with our R's. I don't know what they do with theirs because they take them out where they belong and then they throw them in somewhere else.
Right, exactly.
There's just rogue R's everywhere.
Rogue R's. So the question was, how do we take a small community, which also happens to be the capital of and grow? But that's a good question for anywhere, right? Like, because there's lots of small communities. So the most important thing is to tag them on Wine Coast Swing, everybody. That's the most important thing. No, I said this this weekend. What I want everybody to do who watches this, and I encourage everybody here, is we all watch YouTube videos. We'll watch YouTube videos of Brandi dancing, Jack and Jill. Like I ask people all the time, how many have seen Brandi and RJ Centeno dance to Masquerade? And everyone's like, oh my God, right, exactly. And so you put it on your Facebook page, and you tag all your dance friends. You know, what'd be really great? Tag all your non-dance friends, and put it. This is what I do on the weekends. This is my hobby. This is my love. This is my passion. Right? So tag a whole bunch of non-dance people. Put it on non-dance walls. Right? And then if there's web pages or sites in your area for activities, parks and recreation centers, stuff like that have a web page that you can go to. If you can tag a URL to it, tag your favorite YouTube clip of West Coast Swing, and then underneath it say, we're teaching it here in this area. We have to reach out to the people. Like, we tend to circulate all of our product within people who already know about what we're doing, and we have to get it out to other people. So we have to use social media. Do Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. When you tag people, don't just tag your dance friends. Actually, your dance friends already know this exists. Tag as many of your non-dance friends as you can. I mean, heck, they tag you in those videos of a cat falling asleep and rolling off of a piano. So like,
which is awesome.
Which is awesome, right? But I mean, if they're tagging the wombat stuff on your page, you should be tagging West Coast Swing stuff on their page.
It's all about exposure.
Right.
It's all about exposure. Some communities are doing some awesome stuff like BYOB nights, bring your own beginner. And when you bring your own beginner, you get in for free as well as the beginner. And so there's a lot of ways that you can cultivate your community by bringing people in and encouraging others to bring people in, because everybody can find one person Just one person from work, from school, from your community that might be willing to give it a shot. And it's our responsibility, Bobby says.
Bobby, my son, came up with that.
It's our responsibility to spread the knowledge and the love of our dance. I've always said West Coast swing is a dancer's dance, and typically if you don't already dance, you don't know this exists. It's almost like this quiet underground thing that happens. And we want to change that, and we want to bring it into the light, and we want to expose everybody to it. Robert had a great suggestion earlier this weekend. Go out to clubs in your area and dance West Coast swing. And I'm not talking about Westie bombing. It's not about going out to show off.
Right.
It's about going out to do what we do.
Right.
And enjoy it as we do. And as soon as people see it, they go, wow, I would like to try that.
Yeah, if you go with a group of people, like let's 40 of us go to a nightclub tonight, because we're talking about clubs that aren't dance clubs. Let's go to a nightclub and let's all, Westie bomb the club. That actually can look very intimidating, and people around will look at it and go, okay, that's great, but it's like, it must be Arthur Murray night at the dance club. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like you and 2 or 3 other people, your friends, go and have a drink and sit, be at the club, freestyle maybe a little bit, and then also, which I know scares most of you, and then also, and then do some West Coast swing, and people will see it. They'll say, that's great. And Brady Stanton said to me that was one of the things that started here. So tagging the YouTubes, going to clubs, and just dancing. Like, this is just the thing I do. I'm not showing off. I'm not coming here with a group to interrupt your club. I'm just doing what I do, and this is what I do to this music, right? So we can start to create some exposure for that, right? And then when you do get beginners and when you do get people in the door, right, it should be your job to make them feel so welcome and so good about being there. Like, John Lindo does this all the time. John Lindo will search a room when he's at a dance competition, or when he's in like a local, we do this local stuff in Jersey all the time, and John will see that person sitting in the back corner that hasn't been asked to dance, and he will go ask them to dance. So we have to make sure that within the community, we cultivate the people that are already in the community asking the beginners to dance as much as possible, so that they feel good about their experience, and then they're gonna go tell their friends, and that's where it starts to grow. Cool? Let's do one more, and then we're going to let you guys get back to dancing. And we haven't finished our wine. Anything else?
I've run out.
You've run out of wine?
Of questions?
Yeah, we're ready. Yeah.
To carry on from the last question, once you get them down, we find that they might stay for a few weeks, or give it a go.
Right.
They don't know it's too hard.
How do you get them staying?
How do you get them to stay?
How do you get them to stay? The question is, once you get them there, after a couple of lessons, they go, this is really too hard, and then they leave. So I'm going to steal a quote from Brandi, who says, my job, so there's teaching pros, there's circuit pros, and then there's local pros. So circuit pros are like what we do on the circuit. Now, both of us at one point in time were also local pros, where I was teaching weekly group classes, right? She was teaching weekly group classes. So sometimes there's circuit pros that have never been local teachers, and then there's local teachers that we'll never see on the circuit. One of the things that the local pros need to do is find ways to keep people entertained, keep them, if they're laughing, they're learning. Like, make them have a good time. Don't overspeak the dance technique, right? Is the dance technique important? Of course it is. Find ways to get them moving, find ways to get them having fun so that they stay. And the other thing too is be inclusive. That's one of the reasons, I think one of the reasons why we have the attrition we have is they feel like it's too hard, and they also don't feel included. So we have to make sure that they feel included, and we have to make sure that the teachers come up with a pedagogy, that they come up with a system of their science of teaching that keeps people entertained and having a good time. Their job, those local teachers' job, is to keep those people coming back.
They become the feeder pool.
Right.
So the local teachers create the feeder pool, and your retention rate is not going to be 100%. So people take up a new hobby, they try something new, they like it, they hate it, it doesn't. But what you want to do, I tell all of the teachers that I train, when you're teaching a local group class, your job on week 1 is to get them back for week 2. And so even though me personally, I feel like what I should teach on week 1 is how to triple. Nobody's going to come back on week 2 if they spent week 1 learning how to triple.
Right.
So by the end of week 1, I have to have them doing a pass, a push, a tuck, something, a combination of 2 of our basic figures that they can spend a song dancing and they feel successful. Then once we hook them, then we can start spoon feeding them technique after explaining why it's important. So we have to do that. The other thing is, some of the most successful studios I see allow, if they have a basic class and an intermediate class back to back, they allow their intermediate dancers to come to the basic class for free.
Right.
And what that does is it causes the intermediate dancers to spend more time studying their basics. And it gives the new students in the basic class the opportunity to dance with people who understand what a connection feels like. And it creates this integration within the levels, and it tends to elevate everything very quickly. So that's
really
one
good.
tactic that I really like.
I didn't know that one existed.
You didn't? It's a
I
good
didn't.
one.
That's awesome.
Parker Dearborn has done that a lot.
Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
great. All right, so listen. So because we don't want to take up much more of your dance time, and we have a great live, a musician playing live for you guys to dance to, and the more this goes on, the less people will watch it on YouTube. We were like, I have a timer set over there that I was going to start.
But it still says 0.
But it still says 0, because I didn't push, because our crew is us.
Us.
Right, so anyways, the goal for Wine Coast Swing isn't just like what we just did here. We'll do lots of these as well. Sometimes we'll come in with a very specific topic that we would like to cover, something we think that is pressing for West Coast Swing. Things like the music that's being played, sometimes the talk that's going on right now about changing the name, some of the techniques we think that are missing in the dance the most, some of the things that we think that are exciting that's happening in the dance. So sometimes we'll have absolute topics, sometimes it's going to be a question and answer live studio audience. We're going to try to do that as much as possible because we both love that and love having you all in the room. Please look for it on Robert Royston's YouTube channel. There'll be a Wine Coast Swing. It'll be tagged on Brandi's website.
Brandi's website is under some changes.
Right. I think it should just be Brandi, no last name necessary, like Madonna
Do you
or
know?
Prince. It's
Do you
just
know?
Brandi.
Do you know?
Don't you think? I just want it's just like it's Brandi. Like this, just what
I'm
it
just
is.
going to be perfectly honest. I tried to buy that domain name, and a stripper owns it.
That's funny.
Because it's true.
Right. So anyways, please, if you watch this, hashtag Wine Coast Swing, the Other WCS. You can go to Brandi's website, which is branditobias.com.
Soon to be brandyguild.com.
Right. And I'm robertroyston.net is my website. So this is our very first one ever. We're so excited we did it here in Australia. So excited we did it at Swing
Thanks,
Escape.
you guys.
You guys were absolutely amazing. So to Brandi Guild, Robert Royston, we'll see you on the dance floor.
Cheers.
Cheers.